I love this passage because like in our lives, rejection is difficult. I mean, when you apply for something and you get a no, you look for every reason why this can't be true, why they messed something up, why this is personal, why, clearly, I've done everything right? This is a mistake. No, I don't accept this. Or you get critique. You're doing a practice run of a presentation that you have to give, and somebody says, you know what, you should do X, Y, no, I worked 3 days on this thing. It is flawless. You're supposed to tell me it's flawless 3 days, right? And we have a difficulty receiving stuff that perhaps may be meant for our good, but it seems to be not appropriate for the moment. We have a hard time with critique, with disappointment, with failed expectations. And here God has removed these people from their homes, from their villages, from all their comfort zone, and taken them from here and put them over here and said, you know what, I still love you, but I want to see what you're going to do. The realization is this, friends, that because we don't have God's full perspective, we don't realize that sometimes the obstacles that are put in our way are meant to help us. They're meant to challenge us to be better people, to be better Christians, if you will, to understand what it really means to rely wholly on the Lord. You may be like me. I read a lot. I read a lot. And that doesn't mean I know a lot. It just means I read a lot. And if I begin to think that I know a lot because I read a lot, then I'm going to be walking around like I think I know everything. Because I read a little bit of everything. But the realization is, I only know those things that I know. And in order to get broader and expansive knowledge and wisdom, I have to rely on the Lord. Right? I can't just come and talk to you about the things I know and try to fool you over some stuff. I got to rely on what God tells me that I need to focus attention on for this Sunday, or for this Friday, or for this Sunday. Otherwise, I'm what they call a false prophet. And this is what God is speaking to here. He's saying that when you're in exile for 70 years, you're going to come across some stuff that ain't going to be what I've been talking to you about. And you're going to have to discern. That means to close your eyes and feel God's presence. And to, without looking and without feeling, realize that God is telling you to go right when everybody else is telling you to go left. And I say close your eyes because sometimes you get in a situation of peer pressure. When everybody's going left and you seem that you want to go right, but you see everybody's going left, you may feel that God is talking to the whole population to go left. When the realization is God is calling you forward to be a leader, to go right. The challenge is this: when things don't seem to be going your way, can you hold on and hold out for God to do what God is going to do? What he's telling us, and I'm glad that we have the rest of Jeremiah because we can see how the rest of the story unfolds. But what he's telling us is that after 70 years, I'm going to come back and I'm going to take an account of what you did with this 70 years. I got to pause here for a second because what is subtle in here? God uses 40 years, 70 years. He uses big, relatively big numbers. 70 years implies that those of you who are elders right now will not be alive when I come back. The subtlety is this: that if you obey what I'm asking you to do, you will obey it forward, not selfishly. You got to watch this. In order to obey what God is asking you to do, you got to realize that it means you have to cater yourself according to God's plan, but also as you have offspring. Because 7 years from now, the offspring will be the elders. And it's your preparation for the So what God is saying, I'm going to tell you, but it's your responsibility to live a life of integrity, dignity, and pride with the convictions that I'm telling you. Because when I come back, I'm not going to be talking to you. I'll be talking to your children. So I want to see what they know. And what they know should be based on what you've lived and what you've taught. I love this. I love it. Many people use this passage for prosperity gospel, if you will, right? So the plans that I have for you are not for evil, but to make you prosperous. We dealt with this last week when we talked about the original Hebrew word shalom. That's the word here, shalom. It's a holistic word. It doesn't mean just economy. It means everything, peace, tranquility. It means wholeness, completeness. It means a whole ecological system of life. So it says the plans that I have for you in a holistic way. Not only just for you professionally or personally, but for your family, for your offspring, for your community, if you will, are not meant for evil, but for shalom, for completeness. Shifting from our presumptions to God's perspective. You may be going through something right now. And it's hard to almost be prophetic about what it will lead to. But the realization, if you look back over your life, I will guarantee you that you're at a place that you never thought you would be. That you're sitting in seats of power, and sitting in seats of prestige, sitting in seats of just living of influence, that you never even imagined. When you were 12 or 13 thinking about what your profession would be, you didn't even fathom that you could be where you are now. And then you think about your life and you fill in more pictures, and you realize that it hasn't been easy. The road has not been easy. It has not been linear. You have had ups and downs. You've had to rely on other people. You've had to ask for help. You've had to suck up your pride and your ego just a little bit to rely on somebody else, hoping that they didn't let you down. Life is not linear. But the reality is that where we are now is just a portion of what God has called us to be and who God has called us to be. So the realization is that we don't have to rely on our presumptions. We don't have to rely on what yesterday and today and tomorrow looks like, because God has a plan that He declares, a plan for shalom and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And when that time comes, whatever you need, you call and I will come. Whatever it is that you're going through, I will be there with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. As we move forward in life, let's focus on God's perspective in our life. God has called us to do great things individually, as family units, as a community. God has called us to be special and influential in the lives of many others. God has given us power, He's imbued power on us, that we may be respectful and responsible for that power. So no matter what you're going through in life, as the old saying goes, this too shall pass. It will pass. Why? Because God's perspective reveals that it will pass. God has called each of us to greatness. So that means that stuff that's in your way, those obstacles, those challenges and situations that are right now, those are right now challenges, right now obstacles, right now situations. But God's perspective is the long view. It's the long view. And if we focus on the long view, we can get through anything. We can walk tall, be bold, be courageous, and walk through anything. We can walk through fire and furnace. We can walk in and out of the way. We can go through 40 days of a storm and come back. We can